Welcome to Canine Wellness Online. Today's video is going to be about what to expect when your dog comes home from TPLO surgery or even TTA surgery. After years of helping thousands of owners with dogs that have had surgery, I know how stressful it can be when you're about to go pick up your dog. So I want to give you some strategies and tips for when your dog comes home and what to do in the first week. No, you can stare and point all you like. First and foremost, you need to know for the first 8 weeks, there is no jumping. There is no jumping on in the car, onto the couch, into your bedroom, or any other surface. Also, for the first 4 to 6 weeks, no stairs, and I'll get into a little bit more about stairs. The other thing to keep in mind, if you have another dog at home or young children that like to play with your dog, you shouldn't allow your dog to be off leash in the house for the first week. And the reason for this is you really want to make sure that they're not doing much in terms of overexcitement, because as you saw in one of my other videos, you don't want that plate to move or any of the screws to come out. So that's why it's so important. With each week it gets better, the bone starts to fill in. It's a little less serious if they do happen to do a little running around. The other thing to consider is have an exit strategy. Nice stretch. And what that means is figure out ahead of time which has the least amount of stairs, which door has less chances of a squirrel being outside. So when you're going outside, what you want to do is have your sling on and a leash attached to the collar so you have full control, so that if something happens to be out there, you have your dog and you can just lift him in the air if you have to, so that he doesn't wreck the surgery you just paid thousands of dollars for. So let's talk about flooring. So flooring, it's so hard. You want something with a rubber backing, at least having a trail from, you know, the door you're going to use for exiting to your living room, to your feeding area. You want to have something, I find yoga mats to be the best. Those puzzle pieces, these things, these puzzle pieces, they're not non-slip, unless maybe you turn them over on the other way. No, they're still slippery. And especially if your dog has slightly wet feet, these things are like a skating rink. So I don't advise using these as a non-slip surface. Really the best is, oops. So really the yoga mats are the best to use. And also remember that there will be some discomfort. So I highly, even if you think your dog is doing really well and not in pain, please use the medications that you've been given for the full amount of times. Usually they give you medications for 7 to 10 days. So the first tip I'm going to give you is ice. So you want to do some icing in the surgical area. Above and below, using an ice pack for the first 72 hours. And again, you can go to my video on when to use ice and heat. Your veterinarian has probably sent you home with these pages of instructions. One of the things they say to do is passive range of motion for the first week. So I typically tell my clients, just because most people are not trained on how to do passive range of motion. So what I tell my clients to do is tickle toes and rub thigh. So what that means, you tickle the toes, and when you tickle, it's a reflex, but they bend their knee. And then, what dog doesn't like a belly rub? And when I rub, oh, belly, belly, belly rub, they will stretch their leg out a little bit. And you do that 10 times. The reason I like tickle toes and rub thigh instead of passive range of motion is not really instead of, it's just a different way to do it. It's because the dog will do what's comfortable for them as opposed to you bending it and extending it. I've learned over the years that many owners are afraid to touch this whole area because it looks very scary when you come home. And so by doing this, they are not as, most owners aren't as nervous about it. And the dog will do what is comfortable for them. Now, in terms of walks, so this is where on your sheet that you'll get from your vet, it'll say bathroom only. And that means something different for everybody. So I want to make sure that you can take your dog out for 5-minute walks. You can take them out 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. It's not about the number of times a day, it's about the length of time. So in the first week, you want to just take them out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, into the backyard with a leash on. If you want to use your sling, you can. Obviously with a male dog, they can't pee with that on. And you just want to let them do their business, sniff around, and make sure that they don't chase any squirrels. So hopefully this has been helpful for you for your first week. Stay tuned for week 2 called Let the Games Begin.